take another terrifying journey into the world of mystery, suspense, and terror. Let's turn off all the lights, lock the doors and windows, sit back and enjoy this evening's chilling tale.
All right, well, thank you folks out there for tuning that dial to the Eek channel. My name is James, and today I am joined by my co-host,
Josh.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
I am great. How are you?
I am really, really good. So this is Eek Speak, which is our weekly horror house party where everyone wants to talk about scary movies. And we actually have sort of I guess, I don't know if I should use this terminology anymore. So I used to listen to the Nerdist podcast a lot, who they always had guests on. Mm-hmm. And then whenever they would have an episode where there wasn't like a special guest and it was just the host or the co-host, they'd call it a hostful.
Yes.
But now that everybody hates old what's-his-face,
Chris Hardwick.
that's the guy. Maybe I shouldn't use hostful as terminology anymore.
Maybe we can bring it back.
Maybe we can reappropriate hostful. Yeah. I don't know. But that's the only thing that I've ever called episodes of podcasts quite like this. And so now I feel compelled to use the word hostful, even though maybe I shouldn't use the word hostful. So we are going to say this is a co-host only episode, because that's all I got.
Hey.
So we had a guest in the books for today, and you know, life happens, reschedules happen, and the beauty of that is we don't always get to talk to ourselves or each other, I guess, not ourselves.
That's what the mirror's for in the morning.
I actually talk to myself constantly because silence is the enemy. But yeah, so I think that these are kind of fun. So let's we've done some stuff like this before, especially in the old format of the podcast. But now that we have like the 2 episode a week format, and we have, you know, Eek Speak and Spoiler Vision, you know, maybe people have heard a lot of your opinions and reviews on movies.
I'm sure they have opinions on those as well.
But they haven't heard a lot about who you are, who you is. So I wanted to do a little deeper dive into your horror origin story.
Get ready.
Let's go. Hit me.
So compared to my other co-hosts, I think they have a much deeper and rich horror history. Like, it was much more substantial and influential early on.
That makes sense.
For me, I think I've asked my parents, I've asked myself, you know, in the mirror, and I can't think of really the very first movie that it might have been. I think that it was Alien.
Yeah.
With the time period and how much my dad liked it at the time and all that.
Makes sense.
But I think there was also kind of a big gap after that of horror that I really didn't care about. Like, I similar to Cody, I grew up very conservative in my family, and horror just wasn't a genre that was easily accessible, and I didn't really try. So there's kind of a gap between, you know, 5 to 10 years old, and then probably high school.
Yeah.
When,
well,
you know,
I would say, though, let me interrupt you in your own origin story. I would say what's amazing, though, is that out of all of us, you probably have just a more assorted and deeper knowledge of movies in general. You've seen a lot of stuff, and you're just one of those, you have one of those brains that
I'm a sponge.
Recognizes and categorizes actors and movies and Hollywood names much better than I do. Much better than I do. And so what's fun about watching a lot of these movies that maybe you didn't see is you're like, oh, that's that person from that thing. Yeah. Oh, that's that chick that was in this. Oh, I remember that guy. He's in all these shows. And I'm like, how do you know this information?
Sleepwalkers. That was great. There were so many.
So many.
And just like, oh, it's the... and I had to look it up a couple times, but it was great. That's one of my favorite things. I kind of make it like a trivia game to myself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of... Honestly, it probably came from the, oh my gosh, this is going to date me, but the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon book.
Oh, okay.
When that came out, it was always what person was in this movie with this person, and I think that probably did something to my brain.
Yeah.
And just went, oh, this was that, and then I just pieced it all together. Huh.
There you go.
Interesting.
Revelations. All right, so let's go on then. So is there anything else? Your horror origin, maybe probably Alien, and then we have nothing for a while, and then you end up. Okay, so here's my question.
Yep.
There's been a few times where since you started doing the podcast, you've gotten a lot more into horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
If for no other reason than just so that you have a place.
So I can attempt to be knowledgeable.
Yeah, you have a place to actually speak from some of your own experience.
Right.
And what I love about that is when you first started, you just really dove in deep. And so you were going in on a lot of the stuff just as hard as I was on the background. We were working on watching different things and stuff, but it was still fun because we were both really researching stuff at the time. And so kind of my question is, every once in a while, I'll pull something out and you're like, oh, I have seen that.
Yeah.
So as an example, on the Spoiler Vision episode for tonight that we're going to record later, we're watching Chopping Mall.
Yes.
And you have seen Chopping Mall.
I have.
And I've never seen Chopping Mall.
So
how did those things happen?
they're probably two of the first podcasts I listened to really religiously were Doug Loves Movies and How Did This Get Made?
Oh, okay.
And they always do, obviously, Doug does movies that are good.
Right.
That, maybe people don't know about. He just loves movies, obviously. And then with How This Get Made, they talk about movies that either are terrible movies or terrible movies that are fun or fun movies that people just don't like. And there have been multiple of that kind of era of fun to watch movies. And Shopping Mall came up, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. And
Got it.
I listened to them talk about the movie, and I had to see it. So I looked for it, and it was on YouTube for free.
Gotcha.
Still is.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, well let's move on a little bit. You might not have a great horror answer for this. If you do, hit me with it. If you don't, I just want to know what your comfort food movie in general is. But do you have a comfort food horror movie at this point? Have you created enough of your own opinion on that?
I will watch, when it was on Netflix, I bet I watched The Descent. I don't know, 15 times.
That's a good one.
And the same, I have a 28 Days Later is one of my favorites, and I've a fun backstory on that with my friends and just the manner in which we watched it. And that's another one that I just really love.
Yeah.
And Alien. Like those three, I will watch them anytime they're on TV. There's a lot of the Screams, the Halloweens, a lot of those franchises from the 80s and 70s and 80s. I'm not as in tuned with, and they don't really bring up that horror feeling for me.
Have you seen the first Scream movie?
Yes.
Okay. Because on Instagram, not too long ago, I had posted something about Scream, and your wife, Megan, said, "Oh, I've never seen that." And I was like, do I need to send a Blu-ray home? Like, we might need to fix that problem.
You could name 9 movies out of 10, and she'd probably say that, too. It's pretty bad.
Well, I'm happy to know that at least you've seen it.
Of course.
All right, well.
That was kind of when I started getting into the movies, when did Scream came out in?
96.
Yeah, so I was in 7th grade, maybe, somewhere around there. So that kind of, I could get out of the house. I had friends and things like that. So
yeah. All right, so let's move into our eliminate one, resurrect one. So for those of you who are listening for maybe the first time, we played this game where you can eliminate one film or franchise from the horror canon, and then the flip side of that coin is you also have to resurrect something. Maybe it's something that needs a remake. Maybe it's something that just needs to come back, or maybe it's just something that is underloved and needs more attention. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be resurrected as a remake. Maybe it's resurrected as just a re-release of the movie. Maybe it needs a fresh new Blu-ray collector's edition just to kind of stoke the fire for it again or something like that.
Okay. To get rid of, only one.
Only one.
I think you probably heard my opinion on a previous Eek Speak where someone said Paranormal Activity, I believe, to get rid of, and I agreed. But that's not the
Yeah.
one. That's just a bonus. The other one,
I think that was mine, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then I think the one that I would say is probably all of the Child's Play movies.
All of them?
All of them.
All of them?
I don't think Chucky is
Oh,
remotely scary.
dang. He's not that scary, but there's just something kind of special and endearing. Maybe for me, it was because I had a My Buddy doll.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, I had a My Buddy doll. Actually, side story. This episode's totally about you, but I'm hijacking for my Buddy story
just
because
chatting.
it's amazing.
It's a house party.
It's amazing. So I was a military kid. My dad was in the Navy most of my childhood growing up until about high school. That's whenever he got out of the military. So I lived everywhere, but also that meant that my dad was out on sea duty. A lot of times, and a lot of my life he just wasn't really around. But he would always try to send things, gifts and stuff while he was gone, try to, maintain the connection.
Mm-hmm.
This is not before the internet as we know it. So like the best we had was email. Like
Yep.
and even that was kind of spotty. It's not like they had, 4G or 4-bar LTE.
We had to use those AOL CDs with 700 hours on them.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I did that.
I did that many times.
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, I was OG Napster.
Ugh.
I was using Napster in 4th grade whenever none of the other 4th graders even knew how to use the internet yet.
And Netscape Navigator.
Okay, so I wanted a My Buddy so bad, and it was like the hot Christmas item. And obviously, like when my dad's out on leave, like my mom's basically a single mom,
Yeah.
and so that can be a rough life. Like she also worked, and then just like finding time to get to the store and like all that kind of stuff. Like the things can be difficult. Like I never necessarily went without. I was actually kind of a spoiled kid, but I didn't. It was hard to get your hands on something that was like super hot, like a My Buddy or like a Furby or like any of the things, all those fad toys that they had every year in the 90s. I feel like those aren't as strong as they used to be. Like it would always be like, oh, what's the big toy this holiday season?
Everybody just wants a phone.
It's so true. It's so true. I guess the only thing for that now is the newest iPhone, because you always see those videos of the frickin' bitch ass kids who get like the previous generation and then they throw a big fit about it. Like
Yeah, like I want to go back to the days of Princess Unicorn. My horn can pierce the sky.
That's right. That's right. So I wanted a My Buddy so bad, and my mom couldn't get one. Like anywhere she went, sold out, and just wasn't working out. My dad at the time was in, I think, Saudi Arabia or somewhere kind of in that region. Saudi Arabia or Pakistan, kind of Middle East, and he found a My Buddy doll.
Oh man.
They had a bunch of My Buddy dolls, but they were all Middle Eastern My Buddy dolls, which obviously in America they had like the white one with the red hair, and then they had like an African American one with like curly black hair, and like those were the ones that I saw on TV all the time.
Okay.
But I just get this package in the mail, and it's this Middle Eastern My Buddy doll.
So was it like medium skin toned?
Yeah, it was a brown. It was a brown. It was a brown My Buddy with dark black hair, and I fucking loved it.
That's awesome.
I took it everywhere. It was my best friend because I was a single child, so fucking no friends, and so I just loved My Buddy doll. We hung out together. It was amazing.
That's incredible.
And yeah, I'm actually pretty proud of my old
I like that.
My Buddy story. It was a really interesting experience, and it's a funny one to kind of tell, because it's like, oh, you had a My Buddy, and like the white American My Buddy was very much like Chucky. It was white with freckles and red frizzy hair, but like that wasn't my Buddy, so My Buddy wasn't as scary because it didn't look like Chucky.
Huh.
Yeah. So anyway, I am a little sad that you're eliminating that. But what would be your resurrection? What needs a little more light shone upon it?
I've been using this extra time to try to think about it.
Yeah.
And it's tough. So I would love an updated Alien, but at the same time, the aliens that have come out more recently,
They keep doing those, and they're
I
not
don't-
good.
Yeah, not a big stop it, Ridley. What was I just thinking about? Oh crap, this is terrible. Oh, so with the I'd say semi-recent trend of like crime interest, true crime,
Yeah.
all that stuff. If they made, I don't even would say a bloodier Silence of the Lambs. That's another one of my. Actually, that's
Okay.
that's on my guilty pleasure list too. Like I will watch that.
Yeah.
All the time.
Nice.
I don't know how they would update it.
Did you watch the HBO series, the Hannibal series?
No.
Oh man.
I love what's his face?
Yeah. German
weird
guy?
faced guy.
Or Austrian, I don't know.
Mads Mikkelsen.
One of those two. That one.
Weird faced guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love him. He's
Yeah.
so good at everything.
He is
And
good.
I do need to watch that.
Dude, it's legit. I would say I think you'll love it because it definitely is that. It takes the Hannibal Lecter story to a place of like horror being beautiful art, which is just a perfect match for the character. The only sad thing is, just like everything else on HBO that's not Game of Thrones, it didn't last as long as maybe it should have.
Right.
So that's kind of a bummer. And I would love to see them maybe do just that as a movie and kind of tie up any loose ends and stuff. Because I think there was 3 seasons. Might have only been 2, but I want to say there was 3 seasons. And it's actually really good.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's
Now
a
that I
great
finished
interpretation.
Mindhunter.
Yeah, then the sad thing is it's on HBO, so I don't have a way to watch anything on HBO, so good luck. I'm not paying for another streaming service. I don't have it on cable, so blah. Sucks. I think it might be on Amazon Prime. Prime Video might have it.
Okay.
I can't remember. Okay. What was the last horror movie that you watched? Have you watched anything without me recently?
Let me think about this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched anything since last week's
Okay.
Scary Movie Monday.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Sorry.
Which was Sleepwalkers,
Yes.
which was great.
It was great. So great.
All right. Do you have any recommendations? So I know we have you chose a movie for later in the month,
Yes.
but any other recommendations, things that you've seen? I know you and Cody were watching a lot there for a while.
Definitely not Windmill.
Is it Windmill or Windmills?
I think it's The Windmill.
Okay.
It's real bad. In a sea of terrible Netflix movies, it's up there as terrible.
You know what's interesting? And obviously our Sleepwalker review hasn't come out yet. It will this week. But I was telling someone else that you were going to be on the show today, and they're like, "Oh, we're just going to learn about how much he hates everything." Because the past few times you've been on, you haven't been very impressed.
I haven't.
But they haven't seen the Sleepwalkers one
Yeah.
yet. Whenever that comes out, then you might redeem yourself a little bit.
I was very harsh on La Llorona, but it was...
It was so
oh,
bad.
man.
It was so bad. Okay. I have Alien trivia.
Perfect.
I only got 3 questions.
That's fine. Let's go.
But I think they're good ones.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, they use something very unique and interesting to create the tendons on the xenomorph's jaws. So you know how there's they're like it's really stretchy and you can yeah. The actual like little tendon-y things. So you know what did they use to make those? Was it A, rubber bands, B, condoms, or C, nylon leggings?
B.
They used shredded condoms
That's...
to build the jaw, and that way it had that weird, gross opening mechanism with like the
And then they can
stretchy
like coat it
and-
in nasty stuff.
yeah.
And they're like, hey, get that gaffer or whatever. What do they call him? Whatever.
Yeah.
Get the assistant. Go to the store.
Yeah, for the best boy. I don't know what they
Get
are.
some Trojans.
Best boy.
No,
grip.
wait, no. Get the
Oh,
cheap
no,
ones.
Get the cheap ones.
Get the lifestyles.
So I thought that was a pretty fun trivia. Also, in the egg chamber scene, there's a bunch of blue lights.
Yes.
They actually borrowed those lights from the next soundstage over, where a famous rock band was practicing or was testing out their stage lighting with like laser show and all that kind of stuff. And so they borrowed them from the band.
That's awesome.
So who do you think was the band that they borrowed the lights from? Was it A, The Who, B, Blue Oyster Cult, or C, Pink Floyd?
Just because I like them more than the other two, I'm gonna say The Who.
It's The Who!
Yes.
I like them more than the other two
Yes.
as well. I tried to throw you off because they're Blue Lights, Blue Oyster Cult, and then obviously Pink Floyd likes lights.
I almost guessed Blue just because it would be funny.
So yeah, I thought that was a funny one too. Okay, so how many takes
Oh.
did they film for the famous chest bursting scene? A, 5 takes, B, 3 takes, C, 1 take.
I was gonna guess 1 take. off
It
the
is
get-go.
a 1 taker. That film was that scene that scene was made in 1 take with 4 cameras, and that's it.
That's incredible.
Amazing. Like, I guess it's one of those situations where how do you replicate it? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you sat in a room and you're like, hey, you have to do this, and they made you do it 3 times, like the 3rd time's probably gonna suck.
Yeah.
We know it's gonna happen. Also, we got to clean all this shit up in between
Right.
every take. So it makes sense that it was a 1 take.
Because like the I think the actors were so surprised, like they had very guttural reactions to
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
Like that first time, it just everything worked.
Right. It's amazing. Okay, this was a bonus. I actually
Okay.
didn't even write it down. I
Okay.
just remembered it.
Oh.
So, I forget the cat's name. The cat. Is it a J name? I can't remember. The cat.
Yes.
Obviously plays a pretty prominent role in the film, and he gets scared a lot.
Yes.
That's kind of the point. And
He's a scaredy cat.
God damn it. Side note, guys, Josh and I have this thing where we try to out dad joke each other. So you're witnessing it happen in real time. Okay, so the cat, to get the reactions from the cat. I always think this is interesting because, like, it's hard to train a cat. Like,
Yeah, they don't want to do anything.
yeah, you can get a dog to bark on command. You can get him to growl on command. You can get him to play tug of war on command and look mean, even though he's not actually mad. I feel like that's hard to do with a cat. And so what they would do for all of the, like, scared cat scenes, or like the hissing and like back rear and back, you know, all of that, they had a German Shepherd on set, and they would just like sneak him into the area of the cat with like a screen or something, and then just be like, whoop, and then the cat be like, ah! Just scare the shit out of the cat, like on purpose.
I love that.
Because the cat probably wasn't even scared of
Right.
the monster. You know what I mean?
Like when you run up to a cat, the cat goes, what? Man, that's awesome.
So yeah, they just had a big dog. Be like, oh no, here's the dog. But I mean, I guess now we know all that they really needed to do is have some cucumbers, right? Isn't
Yeah,
that
yeah. Just drop them. They'll jump in the air.
that could have been a much easier than keeping another animal around. Just have some cucumbers on set. Let's see how we're doing on time. We're doing great on time. Okay, we are going to move into some horror news. We don't have a lot this week. A bit of a slow news week. I'm not going to do the Carson slow news day. But so one of the things is Paul Rudd will not be returning to the Halloween franchise.
Oh.
They asked him to come back for to reprise his role as Tommy Doyle from the original movie, which he played Tommy Doyle in Resurrection or Curse. I forget. I always forget. One of the post H2O films, maybe Resurrection, and yeah. So he will not be returning. Instead, they cast Anthony Michael Hall to be Tommy Doyle. He is the guy who was the main character in the 90s TV The Dead Zone. So not the movie where Christopher Walken was the guy,
Right.
but the TV spinoff, he was that guy. And then they are bringing back Kyle Richards as Lindsay Wallace, who you've seen Halloween, right?
Yes.
Okay,
We're all
I
good
just
there.
smacked my beer bottle against the microphone. So Lindsay was the little kid who she was the one being watched by the other babysitter, other babysitter's going to meet up with her boyfriend, so she drops her kid off with Jamie Lee Curtis and Tommy, and then like they go do the hanky panky, and that's who
The horizontal limbo.
there it is, and that's who Lindsay Wallace is. So the girl who actually played
Cool.
that character in the 70s is playing that character again for the film in 2020.
Good genes.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. That's pretty much all I had for like actual news, but I wanted to do this whenever we have a slower news week. I would like to, and maybe just in general as new movies come out, is what's coming to the theater this week, because we have a pretty big one to talk about. This what is it? In 4 days is It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
It's here. So this is the sequel to the 2017 film, based on the 1986 novel by Stephen King. It's directed by Andy Muschietti and written by Gary Dauberman. Set in 2016, 27 years after the events depicted in the first film. And obviously we got Bill Skarsgård coming back as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. A whole list of pretty high-end actors. James McAvoy and
Bill Hader,
Yeah.
Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, some pretty heavy hitters coming in, playing the roles of the kids. There's just, I think one problem I have with it as a story, sorry, everyone's going to hate me. One problem I have with it as a story is there's just too many main characters. Like, it's honestly, I don't remember any of their names. But it wasn't necessarily a major part of my childhood. It was that slumber party movie, and I saw the original. I've seen the first remake, and I even ended up reading the book at some point in high school. But like, it wasn't quite as formative of a horror movie for me as it is for a lot of people, and that's why maybe I just don't resonate with it as much. And then all the characters, I just kind of lose track of who's who and what's what. So. But yeah, that comes out this weekend. This week, technically. They do weird now.
Thursday,
movies come out on
Wednesday
Thursdays.
nights, who
Yeah, it's strange. But so that's coming out this week. And you know what? I'll see it. I'm probably not going to worry about seeing it on opening night or opening weekend.
No.
I'll see it when I see it.
Yeah.
Did you see the remake?
I did not. So I saw I saw the original.
Yeah.
And because of that, I've never been super fond of clowns.
Sure.
As I've gotten
I mean,
older-
it's scary. I mean, I like Pennywise. I got him up here.
Yeah.
I got another one of them over there. Like, yeah.
As I've gotten older, it's less that the clowns are scary. It's more that clowns are just kind of weird.
They are.
Just in general. No offense to any clown watchers or
Well, they
people.
keep making more. We got Art the Clown now. I just saw an ad for a new movie coming out next year with a clown, like a found footage clown movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, they keep coming. There's also that one movie that's called Clowns with a Z.
Oh, yeah. Haven't seen that.
I haven't. I refuse to watch it. It looks terrible, but still, they keep making them. So yeah, we got that one coming out. The first one, I don't think it was bad by any means. I just think that for me, there was just it has that maybe a little bit too polished, modern. At times, Pennywise just was a mess of CG, and it's like, okay, like, I don't know. Like, this sounds weird because I don't want to suppress the medium or suppress animation, because I think animation can be good. I think it can be scary. There's something in me when I see a big mess of CGI. So a good example of this is actually something more like Wonder Woman or Justice League, where like those villains are just like a big gobbledygook of CGI. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like at some point, like, my brain just goes, okay, those ones and zeros aren't menacing to me. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
watching a bunch of data on screen.
Yeah, like for me, it'd be probably Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
With Apocalypse. Like,
Exactly.
that's one of the few graphic novels I actually own, because I love that whole story. And then when you see him, the first, I mean, we could go on for hours about Zack Snyder and stuff, but I just
Doomsday.
or Doom. Yeah,
I
You
gotcha.
know what I mean? It's okay.
Yep.
Wow.
I
Sorry,
gotcha.
guys. But yeah, I just
Leave
didn't-
it to the DC guy in the room. Don't worry about
That's
it.
true. I didn't connect to the monster. He just kind of appeared out of
Exactly.
nowhere. And he didn't look that cool, and then he was gone.
It's
So
just a mess of ones and zeros, and it's not scary anymore.
Someti-
I don't know.
Sometimes
Weird.
things don't have to look super good and polished for them to resonate and be good.
Sure.
Sometimes it helps.
Sure.
But like Transformers, if it looked bad, no one would matter. But it looked really good, and at least the Autobots looked cool when they transformed.
Yeah.
But there are other times like Jurassic Park, like the dinosaurs for the most part were animatronic, not CGI,
Right.
and it still holds up. 30 years later.
Absolutely.
So
100%. Okay, so our next movie coming out this week, this is getting a much more limited release than It Chapter 2, which will be everywhere. But this is a movie coming out this weekend called Satanic Panic. It's an American comedy horror film directed by Chelsea Stardust. It is based on a screenplay written by novelist Gary Hendricks. It centers on a pizza delivery girl who discovers that she has delivered food into a group of high society Satanists who are intent on turning her into a virgin sacrifice.
I like this.
It seems interesting.
Yeah.
Just she's a pizza delivery. It's like Slice, because there's a pizza delivery person, and then it's like Slice walks into Eyes Wide Shut, but they're gonna sacrifice her instead.
Yeah, for us, I think we identify with the Satanic Panic pretty personally.
Absolutely.
And for me, just the name, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see that.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested. It probably won't be in a theater anywhere near us.
No.
Maybe Cinema Center if we're lucky. Cinema Center, if you're listening, bring
Hey.
Satanic Panic. I'll pay to go to it.
Yeah.
Maybe no one else will, but I will. I'd love to see it. Otherwise, we'll catch it on VOD.
If you ever want us to come and watch a movie and we'll do stuff there.
We'll watch a movie. We'll record podcasts. We'll do all the things. I don't care. I would love to do that. That would be fun. That about wraps it up for this episode. Do not forget that Eek Speak is our online horror talk show. You are invited to join the party. We record live on YouTube Mondays at 7:30 EST. We would love for you to join us, be a part of chat, and just be a part of the audience. This is really, really fun. A party is always more fun
With popcorn.
and people. So it was this thing at first. I would set that line up for whoever's on.
Oh, yeah.
And I would expect them to eventually. I expected you guys to eventually catch on and just say yes. But I'm having more fun with it being a random answer every week.
We're never going to say what you want us to say.
At one point, someone said hard drugs.
Danny.
Things just I don't know, more funny. So parties are fun with people and popcorn.
But especially with guests.
Yes, parties are fun with guests. So if you would like to be a guest on the show, just like Josh was our guest today,
Comfy chair.
if you're listening or watching for the first time, a lot of times there'll be two of us here in the seats, and then we'll call somebody up. We'll have them give us their horror origin story. We'll talk about some of their favorite movies. We'll give them trivia, just like what you saw today. If you would like to do that, all you have to do is reach out to us on Instagram at Eek Channel. That is EEKCHANNEL. There's other ways. You can also email us at hello@eekchannel.com or check out our website, eekchannel.com, and you can click the Be a Guest link in the upper right-hand corner. I think that is it. So let me switch over to you guys. I've been waiting to look at you guys all night. I act like it's a different part of the audience. It's really just in the camera. Okay, so if you would like to help out the show, you can rate, review, comment, like, subscribe, do all the internet things. Or, if you don't want to do any of that, I'm okay with it. Just tell a friend that it's kind of a cool show, or at least these guys are stupid enough that they're somewhat entertaining and they made you laugh maybe once, or maybe you just like making fun of us. That's fine too. I don't really care. Tell somebody about the show, like our stuff, do all the internet things. It really, really does help us just to grow the discoverability of the show. We're actually kind of doing a big push to try to get to 100 YouTube subscribers. Once you hit 100 YouTube subscribers, YouTube kind of starts treating your channel like a real channel and not just like a spam kind of channel. So it would be awesome. We're getting really close. We're at like 67 now, last time I looked. So yeah, just drop us a little subscribe on the YouTube and, just hit that subscribe button if you're watching YouTube right now. It's really easy. It's just right there for you. If you're not watching, you're listening in another way, podcast or other we put this thing out everywhere. So if you're listening another way and you have a Gmail account, you secretly already have a YouTube account. So just Go to YouTube, log in with your Gmail credentials, and bada bing, bada boom, search up the Eek channel, hit that subscribe button, and you got it. That's all it takes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and for listening.
This has been a production of Eek Channel. We make spooky stuff for people like you. You can discover more content like this at eekchannel.com or find us on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all the places. And don't be shy, we like making new friends.